Hello and welcome to Todoro's Dice, where our kill team previews just keep on coming. Today we take a look at the new Ecclesiarchy team. This is the Sanctifiers, and we're going to learn what they bring to, well, I was going to say Volcus, but I suppose it's all of kill team, isn't it? Let's see if we can figure out what these guys are actually going to do when up against the Goremongers of Khorne when they release on Saturday. The Sanctifier kill team spreads faith with fire and shouting. That's how you spread faith, isn't it? That's the good old way. As the great gun reloads and its hallowed ammunition is transported across High Basilicus, great processions of pilgrims and preachers accompany those holy relics to their final assembly points. They are far from a peaceful congregation, but any who seek to disrupt the great day of firing will find themselves lit by the flames and faith wielded by the Sanctifiers. Just looking at these guys, they are really cool. The sculpts for pretty much each model is fantastic on an individual level, but it's also everything I don't like about 40k, and one of the big reasons why I don't like the sisters. It's that full-on, zealous, religious, mumbo-jumbo rubbish that my brain doesn't understand. But also, that's the heart of 40k, that is the heart of the Imperium. And these guys absolutely just ooze every ounce of zealous faith that you would imagine in a grimdark setting like 40k. Absolutely perfect. They are wonderful nods to previous models and just a really nice kill team. And it's nice to get a different kind of kill team that isn't just 40k fodder. I think this is the way that kill team should go, to try and remain individual and separate from 40k as much as it can. But let's take a look at the rest of the article. The Adeptus Ministorum has a long history of militant missionaries across the galaxy, joining Imperial military operations to first-hand combat experience. This provides their frontline operatives with an impressively diverse arsenal, complementing their customary hand flamers and chain weapons with a meltagun, a plasma gun, or a Ministorum flamer wielded by their two missionary operatives. You may notice that several of these operatives hark back to certain classic metal missionaries from days of Warhammer yore. Carrying books into battle is a time-honoured tradition after all. So the missionary there, you can see the connections with the new missionaries. So the new missionaries are basically your special gunners, and it's nice that they also confirm you can take a melter, so it opens it up a bit more. I have a feeling this flamer is going to be a special flamer though. Blessed by the Emperor's Light or something. The Confessor who leads the team also pays homage to the original mace-swinging, tall-hatted ecclesiastic Confessor Kirinov. Top points go to those who noticed that the drill abbot is patented after preacher Joseph. I'm gonna go Yosef, a character from the classic early 90s role-playing game Inquisitor, which used larger 54mm models complete with his grim head in a box. It is almost a one-for-one, isn't it? Are they going to bring back Inquisitor? Because there's a lot of Inquisitor references coming in. And now we're in a complete heyday of role-playing games and things like that. It would be cool if they did something. Anyway, back to kill team. Breaches are the most common operatives, and up to 4 can be taken at a time, although the sheer amount of specialists means you don't need to bring any at all. The Drill Abbot, Precursor, Confligator, and Reliquant can all be assembled as preachers with head options to personalise your little fanatics. So this is absolutely, it's a box of specialists, but this is 40k fodder again, isn't it? But I do like a sprue that has options. While these zealous warriors engage their foes beneath the Confessor's sonorous sermon, shrugging off damage within earshot of his stirring oratory, the Death Cult assassin plies their lethal trade from the shadows with throwing knives and deadly ritual blades. I love all of that. He's my favourite model in this box. By contrast, Salvationist is all about keeping others alive, and the twin boons of a medikit and conversion field generator keeping nearby allies on their feet and in the fight. Okay, I'm expecting no ranged options from the Salvationist then. Another medkit, I wonder if they've fixed the wording of it. So the Sanctifier Salvationist conversion field, right, okay, it's not an invul. Whenever an operative more than 6 inches from this operative is shooting a friendly Sanctifier operative, within 6 inches of this operative. Improve that friendly operative's save stat by 1 and worsen the X of the piercing rule by 1 if any. Note that piercing 1 would therefore be ignored. That's very strong. Arguably that's better than an invul. In fact, it is better than an invul, isn't it? That's very strong. So when an operative more than 6 inches from this operative is, so you've got to be outside of 6 inches and you're shooting an operative within 6 inches, that reads very strong. One of the stranger operatives is the Miraculist, natural-born conduit for the Emperor's divine power, hence the Stigmata vibe. Their inner light manifests as a searing blaze emanating from their body, burning all who come close. And once per game they can blast an unbeliever off their feet with a massive burst of holy energy. We do actually get that full card. So the Sanctifier Miraculist, 2 APL, 6 move, 4 up save and 7 wounds, so far so human. They are 25 mil base. You don't see many 25 mil bases anymore. So Holy Light is 4 attacks, hits on 2s, 3-4 damage, range 8, devastating 3, limited 1, piercing 1, saturate and blaze. Wreathe in Fire, 4 attacks, hits on 2s, 4-4 damage, blast 1 inch, limited 1, wreathed and blaze. Burning Hands is 1 attack, hits on 2s, 7-8 damage. Wow, brutal, limited 1 and blaze. All of those are 1 use. You do not want to get close to this girl. And then afterwards she has Fists, 2 attacks, hitting on 5s, 1-2 damage. So quite weak, but a choice of 2 ranged and 1 very nasty melee. And a 4-up save I guess isn't too bad, 50-50. This Burning Light, like many of the team's flame weapons, inflicts a special blaze effect on their targets on a critical success. Unique to the Sanctifier kill team, this ongoing malady causes operatives to take extra damage whenever they are activated, with opponents needing to either spend an action point to put flames out, or gamble that they'll go out on their own. This is sounding a bit like Necromunda, so Blaze. Some weapons in this team's rules have the Blaze rule below. Blaze. If you retain any critical successes, the operative this weapon is being used against gains 1 of your Blaze tokens if it doesn't already have one. When an operative that has 1 of your Blaze tokens is activated, inflict D3 damage on it, then the operative's controlling player selects 1 of the following. Roll a d6 and on a 3-up remove that token, the fire's just burnt out, or subtract 1 from the operative's APL stat until the end of that activation and remove that token, not leaving it to chance. I'd roll. Losing an APL is pretty huge, but then T3 damage every... that sounds like a strong rule, and it like many of the team's flame weapons. So they're going to be spreading blaze all over the place. Oof, this sounds nasty. This focus on close range firepower makes for a very aggressive kill team which rewards bold action, though due to their relative fragility, a little divine protection from the God Emperor wouldn't go amiss. All 9 on-table operatives can punch above their weight should they get into the right position, and careful rotation of their defensive abilities will be key to getting the most from them. Kill Team Blood Zeal goes up for pre-order on Saturday, and they're just making a little note that the Death World veteran from the Inquisitorial Agents kill team is a callback to Sergeant Stone from Inquisitor. Stat-wise, they're basic humans. Weapon-wise, it's probably very similar to what we've seen before, but the amount of flamers that these guys can take, and there's actually... that blaze rule is going to be a very, very compelling argument to take the flamer over plasma or melter, probably over a melter, I don't know. But it sounds like they're going to certainly make flamers viable in this team because of that. How many flamers is there going to be then? So we've got 2 there. There's a flamer on that chainsword. There's another flamer there. She does flamey things. That's a flamer. The Confessor... he must have a flamer. He must have something. He must have some sort of pistol. Could the Flaming Brand put blaze on? It probably does, doesn't it? It probably would do. Because it's definitely some sort of a melee weapon. So this is going to make flamers good. certainly with this team, that I think the Blaze, God, this might be a nightmare to keep track of. It's very themey and it sort of fits with, certainly with her. I like it for her. In general, somebody running around with a flamer is going to set people on fire. That is how a flamethrower would work. The concentration of fuel, flammable liquid, and the projection of it, if you get coated in that, you are going to be set ablaze. So I completely understand why this is a rule. I think it's good that it's not a rule for every flamer, although you could maybe argue that it should be. But one of my biggest issues with Necromunda is the flame rule and how it was always just an absolute problem because it was so random. Whereas this, it isn't you lose your activation, you run around like a headless chicken and wait for someone else to put you out. But before you put yourself out, you're taking D3 damage. And if you've got 5, maybe 6 of a 9-man kill team that is able to just put Blaze, and in some cases with flamer weapons probably keep putting Blaze onto you, that's probably going to be brutal. And when you think about, okay, well, it's fine, you take 1 set of D3 damage and then you just remove an APL and you're out. Hopefully not being able to be put on fire next turn. 2 APL teams, you're losing 50% of your efficiency by doing that, which is gonna be brutal. If you have 2 or 3, let's say Kazakin are 2 APL, right? If you have 3 Kazakin on fire, that basically locks you out of a portion of the board because you can shoot or move. But then I suppose if you are on fire, you're probably within 8 inches. You're probably close enough to get shots back on them. They are a fragile team. They need to be a glass cannon. I don't actually know how shenanigan-y these guys are going to be. I think it's just going to be a debuff team. And the debuff is, here's D3 damage, minus 1 APL. I think what we'd need to know before we can have a real idea of how this is going to function is, 1, how easy it is to put Blaze on people, because it is just crits as well. But how often are they going to be critting? If some of their flamers are like lethal 5 up and things, or you can put lethal 5 up on a flamer, that's going to make this more reliable, but also much, much, much more problematic. It's not going to be every operative, it's not going to be every turn. There's only 9 of them, they're going to be 7-8 wounds. We need to see. We need to see. But actually, as someone who wasn't that sold on this team, it seemed like pretty good rules. Obviously this is only a preview, we're not seeing everything. There's going to be certain things that each of these specialists can do. We know that they're specialist heavy. We know it's a 9-man team. So we know it's a 9-man team, but there's 10 operatives and a cherub. Is that going to be 11 operatives? You're going to take 2 special weapons. You're going to take the Miraculist. You're going to have to take the Confessor. You're always going to take flame weapons. You're probably going to take the Salvationist. I wonder what the build is for these teams. I think that's going to be your biggest headache. Do you stack into Blaze and hope that you're getting those crits? Does the Confessor do something to boost crits or something? I now have more questions than answers. Rules-wise, they sound really interesting. I'm fascinated to see more, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to pick up a box when it goes up for pre-order on Saturday, because this seems very glass cannon. But like they say here at the bottom of the article, if you get them in the right position, they punch well above their weight. Which you'd hope for simple humans in a world where there's Space Marines running around, seemingly left, right and centre. And a big issue with Kill Team at the minute is elites. Space Marines being able to shoot twice, 3 APL. Yes, it's less models, but they don't care on a 3 objective board. I don't know, I need to see these, I need to run through the book and try and get an idea of how they're going to work. Yeah, hopefully I'll pick this up and look out for my review if I'm able to. I'll let you know either way. It's not going to be Saturday because I'm not part of the in crowd, but I'm looking forward to seeing more from both of these teams now. And I think the Blood Zeal deck is going to be an interesting way that changes Kill Team. I just hope that it isn't as FOMO as it sounds. Let me know what you think of the Sanctifiers and Blood Zeal in the comments. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.